In this problem, we are trying to solve for r sub 1. So the first thing I want to do is get rid of all of my denominators by multiplying by the LCD. And the LCD in this problem is r times r sub 1 times r sub 2. So I'm going to multiply both sides of my equation by that using the multiplication property of equality. And this looks a little different since there's so many r's, but the subscripts tell them that each of those r's is a different variable. So on this fraction, my r cancels, and I'm left with r sub 1 times r sub 2. When I multiply my second fraction by the LCD, so I'm multiplying this fraction by that, just the r sub 1 cancels, and I am left with r times r sub 2. And when I move over to the third set of fractions, the third fraction, I multiply by the same common denominator. My r sub 2 cancels, and I have plus r sub 1. So the first thing I noticed once I got rid of my denominators is that I have two terms that contain r sub 1. So I want to bring them to the same side of my equation. So I am going to subtract r sub 1 on both sides, canceling it here. And over here I now have r sub 1, r sub 2, which was the first term, minus r sub 1, which is what I subtracted. And that's equal to the other side of the equation, which is r sub 2. The reason I brought my terms to the same side of the equation is now I can factor out the common factor of r sub 1. So that leaves me with r sub 1 times r sub 2 minus r equal to r sub 2. So my last step, now that I've factored out r sub 1, I'm able to divide by this binomial factor, r sub 2 minus r, on both sides of the equation. Canceling here, and then this is what r sub 1 is equal to. So looking through my choices, I want to be really careful because my last two answers look really similar. So I can definitely tell that these two answers are not correct because they're not even set up correctly, whereas these two are pretty close. But I know that I want r sub 2 minus r, so I want to choose choice 4. So looking through problems, 3 is the easiest to explain, so I'm going to write subtraction in the wrong order. And that applies to this question. I'm just kind of blocked out from writing on the other side. The one above is not even close. I could write something about no division. And then this one, we can see we still have r sub 1 over here, so I can write not solved for r sub 1, because even though r sub 1 is by itself over here, there's still an r sub 1 on the other side.